What's going on, button pushers? If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. If you guys are coming back, welcome back. It's so good to see you again. Today we're talking about this lens right here, and no, this actually is not a cinema lens. This is actually rehoused by Cinehouseing, and it's something I do want to talk about because rehousing is something that a lot of people are getting into, and it's one of those things that kind of makes it look nice and feel good for yourself and your lenses. If you guys aren't familiar with rehousing, usually what happens is the company will take your lens and they will take the optics out, the actual glass itself. Most of the time there is rehousing where people literally take the lens and put it in a casing like this, which I'll explain later. But most of the time when it comes to the expensive metal rehousing and whatnot, they will take the optics out and put it in a whole new body, and it looks really good. It gets to become a cinema lens, and it keeps the same glass, which means the look is the same, it's just in a new body. But those get pretty expensive. One, because they're made out of metal, so the materials already are very expensive, and two, it's just a lot of work. So the price ends up becoming like $3,000 to $10,000 per lens. So that is definitely not doable for a lot of people, and people usually leave it to the rental houses to take care of that. But when it comes to something like this is actually 3D printed by Cinehouseing. They actually put my logo on it right there. It's pretty cool. I really appreciate that. And this one comes out to about 200 pounds or $235-ish dollars, and that's only for the Helios lenses. Other lenses may come out to different prices, you know, who knows, it depends what lens you want. But I really enjoy this housing, and it was a process because I did have to build it myself, but when it comes down to it, the quality is really good actually. And for something 3D printed, I wouldn't have expected it to be so clean and so smooth. Like, you can see that you can't really tell about all those lines, because when I think about 3D printing, I always think about the seams and being able to see the actual strings of the 3D printing. But this comes out really nice, and it's very simple to put together, but it took me about an hour because it was my very first time building the Cinehouseing rehousing, because you know, it does take a while to do things for the first time. Honestly though, if you guys aren't comfortable putting this on and building this yourself, that is something you gotta kind of overcome. It isn't too much. It isn't like, hey, you gotta break into the lens and kind of pull the glass out. That's not what it is, and you're definitely okay. You shouldn't be harming your lens in any way using this, especially because there is some steps where you have to use some tape, so it kind of prevents the lens from actually being punctured by any screws or anything. So it's all about just following the steps correctly. But again, it was kind of a complicated process, but at the same time it wasn't complicated. Like, if you know what you're doing, it's super simple, and if you have the instructions, it's very easy. That is something to keep in mind. So one, the setup is very simple, just takes a bit of work and a bit of trial and error. It comes with spacers to make sure everything fits well. It comes with extra screws in case something happens, you drop them on the floor or something, like I might have. And it comes with a bunch of step-up rings built in, so that if you have a specific type of filter you need, they can actually customize it for you. The minimum is 95 millimeters, I believe, so I'm sorry to everybody who's using the 77 and the 82, but you can always get those step-up rings to kind of match that. And these diameters are really good for matte boxes. So again, jumping into the cinema world, matte boxes are used very commonly, pretty much on every shoot, because there's a lot of benefits to it. So in actual use, the focus gear is super smooth. You can see here it has the markings of the focus. It also has the aperture markings here. You know, super smooth gears, and it really all comes down to how well you piece it together, because if you screw it in too tight, it's going to be very stiff. If you screw it too loose, you could, you know, miss aperture and then misalign the numbers and whatnot. So you have to find that sweet spot in between, and you know, that's one of those things where you just gotta go through it and kind of figure it out. So what exactly are the benefits of having something like this? Well, one, you have the universal front diameter, because you know lenses like this have a 52, and that is something that you have to keep in mind, because if you guys are constantly switching filters, I know a lot of people who are like, okay, I gotta get a ND filter for a 52mm, 77mm, 82mm, but for me, I really like having all my lenses at a universal diameter. That way I don't have to buy as many filters. I just buy some cheap step up rings, put them on, and keep them on there. That way I don't have to keep removing things, and it just works out in the end, because everything for me is adapted to a single diameter or maybe two. So I have the 77 and I have 95s, and that's all I want to have because it makes life so much easier. But more on the benefits, because this is made out of plastic rather than metal, one, it is super cheap in comparison to actual rehousing places and services, and two, it's super lightweight. Because a lot of the times people are now running on the RS3, the RS2 gimbals, and they really want lightweight rigs for the most part because there's so much run and gun. So this is going to do that for you, because I couldn't imagine having a fully metal rehoused lens put onto an RS3 Pro and having it not be front heavy and just not being heavy in general. Now that's something that you can't get with a professional rehoused lens for the most part, because they're just so heavy in comparison and they're a lot bigger. Now of course there are lenses probably like the K35 FD lenses that do have shorter lenses where they could be matched and fit pretty well, but again, for the most part, rehoused lenses are going to be super heavy because of that metal, and I don't know if you're going to want to carry all that weight around. Another benefit, and this is more of a situational thing I guess, because Clients love seeing good gear used for their videos, and they love seeing cinema lenses. They love seeing cine style cameras and cine style rigs, and it just makes them feel better about their video and about themselves, and kind of might bring you more business because they're like, wow, this person really put in the effort and brought out a cinema lens, because again, they might not know any better. They don't really know what Cinehouseing is or what a Helios lens is, and they don't know the specifics. They just see what they see and they're like, wow, that looks really nice. So having a lens like this could just give you that, an aesthetic reason for clients to come back to you, because you have cinema lens and it just feels good, looks good, and it makes the clients feel good about their video and about themselves. So that is one benefit that some people might not think of. It's not really like a huge benefit when it comes to like actually using the lens. It is like a business tactic, strategy, or whatever. It is something to keep in mind. Now this doesn't really affect the optics at all. It doesn't really change how the lens is going to end up looking. It just changes how you use it. You can use more focus gears with it, and it doesn't look like a cine-modded lens. It looks a bit more professional because it is in its own casing, its own housing, and everything looks really nice and clean. So that's just Cinehouseing right there. It's super affordable. Again, it's built really well and it feels really good in the hand, and it just makes the lens look absolutely amazing. Setup isn't too hard, just takes a bit of trial and error and a bit of redoing things here and there. So set aside maybe an hour or two of your time and you can definitely get it done easily. Anyways guys, that's gonna be all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Drop me a comment below. Let me know, what do you guys think about the rehousing? Are you interested in something like this, or would you rather just go for the expensive metal rehousing? Because I do see both sides. I do see the people who would wait for the metal one because it is metal, it probably a bit sturdier, and I don't know. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. Have a nice day guys, keep pushing buttons, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. I hate outros, so I'm just gonna leave. Bye.